Good evening to you all. Very warm welcome to ETV News. I am Grum Tariku. Islamic religious fathers called on the Muslim faithful to maximize their efforts to restore peace in Ethiopia. The 1443rd Eid al-Adha festival has been observed peacefully in Addis Ababa today. Take a look.
وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَىٰ تَنْهَرْ وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ الله أكبر بسم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الله أكبر بسم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر وليكن يومكم هذا العيد يوم العيد موسما للإحسان واعلموا أن خير ما يتقرب به العبد إلى ربه في هذا اليوم قراءة دم الأضاحي إحياء لسنة أبينا إبراهيم عليه السلام.
Meanwhile, members of the diaspora who have been attending the 1443rd Eid al-Adha festival told ETV that reconciliation, forgiveness and faithful discussions should come at the forefront of realizing sustainable peace in Ethiopia. The diaspora called on Ethiopians to stand in unison in these trying times. Habtam Washagri has compiled the following report.
While observing the 1443rd Eid al-Adha, members of the diaspora approached by ETV said reconciliation and forgiveness should be the guiding principle of the holiday. They stresses that peace is a critical ingredient for all Ethiopians, urging the Muslim community to prioritize peaceful coexistence.
We inviting the whole new generation to come, make peace, and to help our society. We have to show them how is important our country. Also, in the country, we need all of us reconciliation, peace for everybody. If we don't have a peace, we are not existing, we are not coming here, we are not remembering back home.
This peace cannot be happen unless each one of us and be humble and support each other. And as you know, this day especially, Eid means Eid happiness. This happiness should be included everybody, regardless of their religion or nationality or tribalism, and this must be included everyone.
Members of the diaspora also expressed the need to extend a helping hand to the needy. This is in accordance with the basic tenets of Islam, they said.
As a Muslim, in this day we visit our neighbors and we share the foods and we bring happiness to everyone. Especially in Ethiopia, what I see is great opportunity and growing very fast economically, peacefully. We ask each one of our brothers and sisters in this country to be humble and to be together and help each other and support each other and try to make this country peaceful and stand beside the government. Help the government. Government cannot bring peace by itself. And peace must be started from my home and from your home and from our neighbors. And this is what I wish for all Ethiopians, regardless of their ethnicity or their religion.
Saying that every Ethiopian is duty bound to preserve peace, they went on to say that unity must be upheld at any cost.
always, if they are sit down and talk, never give up. And the weapon never bring the solution. If you kill today, they can kill you next. That's what will happen. But only the solution for this country is to come together, sit down, and speak to each other, and try to be humble and forgive each other.
In another development, President Sahle-Work Zewde conveyed a message of felicitation to the government and people of South Sudan on the 11th anniversary of the South Sudanese independence. In a message to her South Sudanese counterpart, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President Sahle-Work said, "On behalf of the people in government of Ethiopia, and even to the people in government of South Sudan on their own behalf, you have celebrated your 11th Independence Day." According to the information obtained from Ethiopian embassy in South Sudan, the two remain committed to bolster their bilateral ties based on mutual benefit. Ethiopian Green Legacy Initiative and watershed development activities have brought blessings to the lower riparian countries and neighboring countries. Water and Energy Minister Habtamu Itafa told Ethiopian news agency. Ethiopia is working to protect the environment and withstand the effects of climate change that has been making significant changes in water resource development. According to the minister, Ethiopia's Green Legacy Initiative and related conservation activities are blessings not only to Ethiopia, but also to the lower downstream countries and neighboring nations. The Green Legacy Initiative is strengthening the water resources of Ethiopia, including transboundary rivers, and creating green environment that can withstand drought. However, the downstream countries are trying to hinder Ethiopia's effort to use its natural resources, including the construction of the GERD, instead of looking at the positive progress. Habtamu stressed Ethiopia is constructing the dam by exercising its right to use the water without harming other countries, the minister underscored. The countries should therefore be aware of the fall of the water level on Nile River occurs due to climate change or lack of rainfall, the minister stated, adding this is not a man-made phenomenon in the hands of Ethiopia, but a natural phenomenon. In a related development, no single water expert from both Egypt and Sudan has so far managed to verify that the GERD causes significant harm. Talking to ETV here today, water experts suggested that more efforts are needed to increase the awareness of the international community about the facts on the ground on Ethiopia's flagship project, the GERD. Ethiopia has been utilizing its own water resources based on the declaration of international principles, according to the scholars. Take a look.
The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is going to harm Egypt in a significant way. But Ethiopia has made it clear that the issue of the GERD has nothing to do with harming others. And in fact, there is no harm being done to these countries. There have been extensive negotiations. And in fact, there's a DOP signed in 2015 that sometimes the Egyptians and the Sudanese mention too. So why is it difficult for the Egyptians to understand that there's no harm being done to them?
I don't think that the real scientists who work with us, some of them, think that there is significant damage to them. Although there are some other scientists, they frame it that way. Just to give you a perspective, before we started to fill the dam in 2020, that's the first year, I saw Al Jazeera doing in-house modeling. They call it in-house modeling, that if Ethiopia were to fill it in 3 years, it will basically remove about 50% of the irrigable land. Nothing like that. Al Jazeera, maybe like 10 news outlets, they just pick it up. In fact, it was an Egyptian who contacted me. It doesn't help us, neither Ethiopia nor any countries. So there isn't really quantifiable significant damage. Forget about significant. There is no damage at all.
There is no pump that brings back water to the upstream of the dam. So it modulates the flow. I mean, instead of getting a lower flow in July and August, you get less in July and August, you get more during the dry season. So it modulates the flow. Actually, that's really beneficial in terms of, I mean, irrigation agriculture downstream in Sudan and even Egypt. So right now, during the filling time, Aswan is full. It's a very good wet year, so they don't have any water shortage.
Ethiopia has been saying time and again that the Nile River should be used equitably, not just with the upper riparian countries, but with the lower ones as well. How successful have you been in making this Ethiopia's agenda, this argument, perceptible to the international community?
With our discussion with the reasonable Egyptians, I would say reasonable, because they are very experts, you cannot really convince them, no matter how you present them in the facts. But most of the Sudanese, they agree with the Ethiopian position because they know that the GERD benefits them, they know that the beneficiary, but the politicians say different issue. Actually, they were on the side of the GERD until recently.
We had an international conference in Atlanta. It is an environmental water resources conference. It's international. And we had a session solely in GERD, and we presented. And there were many American researchers and other countries, Middle East, and some of them, they were shocked when we told them Ethiopia has 0% basically, and Egypt and Sudan is trying to monopolize this.
कितना प्यारा है ईद का ये दिन सबसे न्यारा है गले सबको लगाए मिलके खुशियां मनाए मुबारक ईद मुबारक मुबारक चांद मुबारक मुबारक ईद मुबारक मुबारक चांद मुबारक.
Welcome back, and you are watching ETV News. A Kenyan school is putting Africa first at its center to preserve cultural heritage and past traditions down to future generations. Children at this Western Kenyan school follow an Afrocentrism-based curriculum that is teaching children to embrace their own culture. Shagai Mata has more from Africa News.
School time in the Quran, Kenya is the grand topic that is almost always on the agenda: African culture, language and dress. Children at the school in Western Kenya follow an Afrocentrism-based curriculum that is teaching children to embrace their own culture.
Through our mentorship program, we realize children are just studying maths and English without an identity. And we decided to start teaching these children an identity clause, which is called the Afrocentric curriculum, which is the freedom curriculum. And when we started doing that, we saw serious transformation. Majority of these children started coming out with excellent results.
The school was founded in January 2018 and now has over 300 students aged between 5 and 14 years old. Those behind Freedom School in Nakuru say some Western education and cultural concepts have pushed African traditions to the back of the textbook.
The reason we edify our mother tongue, our African colors and prints, African attire, is because this is who we are. Our culture carries our heart, our soul, our mind, our essence. And if we go by dressing how maybe the British showed us how to dress in school, how the British showed us how to speak in school, that should be an addition. It should be just like more of exposure. It should not be the center. First, we should start with our own mother tongue, our own colors, dressing code, everything, our own Afrocentrism, Africa-centeredness, and then we add.
Is an African-centered school. It is trying to change the African mindset and make the Africans love themselves, know who they are, and just be proud and be ready to embrace their culture. But in my other school, it was very hard for someone to be called with their African name because people thought that the African names are not valuable.
It is the hope of teachers that their children's link to African culture will remain long after the school bell rings.